What's up, everybody? Welcome to Building Our Power. This is Gabby.
And KT.
And we are back with another episode. Today, we are going to be talking about Joe Biden trying to open up the schools, Tennessee governor trying to pretty much, como se dice, bribe and force Shelby County Schools, our school district, to open up the schools. And what do we think about that? Why do we think there's such a push to open up the schools? And what can we do to kind of push back on this policy? So, KT, can you inform everybody about what Governor Bill Lee, governor of Tennessee, is trying to do, and also what Joe Biden is trying to do?
Yeah, of course. So I'll just start with Governor Bill Lee. So basically, there was an article that came out on January 19th, so just a few days ago, where Governor Bill Lee basically stated that, quote, here's the bottom line. You can't say follow the science and keep schools closed. You can't say, quote, I believe in public education and keep schools closed. So basically, at which point the Shelby County is like a Memphis area school district, Memphis, Tennessee area school district, where basically the superintendent of that came back and was like, hey, like that's ridiculous. What you're saying is absolutely ridiculous. Now, the problem here is that, Memphis City Schools and Shelby County City School or Shelby County School District is actually one of the only school districts in Tennessee that's currently still open. There's 145 that are actually currently already opened and already going to regular school. So, what do you kind of think, Gabby? Do you think that it should be opened, or how do you feel about what he said?
Obviously, I think it was stupid. He is actually trying to get on Davidson County as well. That is the Nashville district schools, both of whom are predominantly black schools. Shelby County Schools is like about 90% black. So the fact that he's trying to force us to open, when we know that black people are disproportionately harmed by coronavirus, we know that Shelby County School District is a criminally poor district. I mean, all of Tennessee is poor, and a lot of our folks don't have adequate health care. It's very, very unwise and stupid. And he tried to pass the law, but thankfully it didn't pass because it was just so ridiculous. But the fact that the governor is literally saying, which KT didn't mention, he was going to withhold money from Shelby County Schools and Davidson County if they remained virtual, which is like, what? So we're trying to keep everybody safe, and because of that, you're going to punish us? And so I'm trying to see, and here's the thing about it. It's interesting when you look at the different levels of power and what people think. Of course, majority of the teacher assistants, the custodial workers, hourly wage people that work in education, they 9 times out of 10 want stuff to stay virtual because, I mean, it's unsafe, obviously. But as you go higher and higher up in the district, you find out that people with more power are actually wanting to open up the schools.
I just want to add, because you do have people who are in the school district who are higher up and within your family, right, or within your reach that you can speak to. And so I guess I'm kind of curious, because you mentioned that. What exactly are they saying? Are they saying like, oh, it's a good idea to open up schools, or are they saying no, it's a bad idea to open up schools, and why?
From a couple that I've heard, they actually want the schools to open up. With their reasoning, they say that the teachers are already out partying, clubbing out with no mask, so they might as well go on to the schools. They say that the kids are struggling. They can't learn in that type of environment, and this is what's best for the students. I also heard that teachers already have one foot in the grave. Anyway, the kids still have a lot of life to live, literally from the words and the mouths of people that are making big decisions in the school districts. I think ultimately what it comes down to all the time is money. I assure you that they're afraid that if Bill Lee does not give them money, they're gonna lose their jobs, or it's always something to do with some type of federal funding or this, that, and the third. Because if you were that concerned about students not receiving adequate education and still being conscious that there is coronavirus, you would do more yourselves to address some of the needs that are prohibiting the kids in their own households to get a proper education.
Right.
There's only so much that teachers can do from in their house. And so your willingness, first of all, to throw everybody in the school for grades, that just doesn't I don't think that's legit, because how much schooling is going to go on when people have to social distance, when people have to wear masks, when you have to disinfect this, when you can't talk here, when you can't run, when you can't go outside, when you can't use pencils, when you can't go to the lunchroom? Like, I think it has something to do overall with just money in general. And quite frankly, a lot of them people like Bill Lee just being COVID deniers.
Yeah, I'm sure he is a COVID denier, but I feel like, I don't know. I don't think when he says listen to the science, I don't necessarily think that he is listening to the science, cuz if he listens to the scientists literally tell us that indoor environments are the riskiest places to be during our pandemic. The science literally tells us that the infection rate indoors is quadruple, maybe more, higher than it is outdoors. And the longer that they say that the longer you spend indoors with people outside your immediate family, apparently that's even closer to your exposure to germs. So I really don't think that he's listening to the science at all. And also, a lot of people, at the beginning of the pandemic, there was this misconception that kids aren't getting the diseases. But based on what I've been listening to, like on the news and from the scientists, they're basically saying that now that it has opened back up back in the fall, kids, their rates of getting coronavirus and being hospitalized has went up 6 to 7%. So honestly, I really feel like if we did open up the schools, which is something that Biden is also pushing for now,
Right.
If we did open up the schools, it would be disastrous. So we're gonna lose probably half of our incoming future people. We're gonna lose our population.
Now let me ask you this: why do you think Biden, Mr. Coronavirus Task Force, is trying to open up the schools? Because I have a theory. What do you think?
I feel like the only reason why he might, like you were talking about, would be funding. The only reason why he would want to open up schools could be because he could enact some kind of like disaster relief plan or something like that with coronavirus. But at the same time, it just like, is it really worth? You can make executive orders, dude. As long as you're within the laws, you could say whatever. You could close this whole thing down. But, we know he's not going to do that because he wants to hold hands with people on the other side. And it's just going to be, I don't know. Honestly, I feel like for myself, I've been indoors so long, even with coronavirus now. It's at a point now where me even seeing people out and working in regular places, it's just crazy. Like, y'all, we really are out here doing this when there's so many people that are dying.
Right. My theory is that this all ties back to capitalism. And the reason that they want them schools to open is so more of the parents can go back to work, That's the only reason why. They probably got the data. They probably seen how many people are not working because they have to take care of the kids, and they just like, well, just gonna throw the mask on the kids. They ain't gonna get sick and die from it, and whoop de doo. My thing is, why are people surprised? I remember when they were doing the town hall, Biden and Trump, and Biden never said he wanted to lock down. Because they would ask him, do you want to lock down? No. He said, I think we should open safely. Mask, social distancing, disinfecting. So he, even in his campaigning, was never saying anything about a lockdown. That's all the progressives in there implying language so that folks can vote for the man. So, but I mean, none of us are surprised. None of us are surprised when them numbers keep skyrocketing. Joe Biden them saying there's nothing they can do to stop the trajectory of the coronavirus. How about do a doggone lockdown, put down the stimulus checks, $2,000 a month, and let us sit?
Okay, so I'm reading this article on CNBC. And at the end, it's talking about Joe Biden rolls out his plan to reopen schools. But like you were talking about the parents, from buying more groceries to new computers and technology upgrades, parents estimate they are spending up to $500 more a month to cover the cost of having children home every day, according to the report from Country Financial. Okay, so here's the thing. Maybe, just absolutely maybe, if we had some kind of effing stimulus package, if we had some kind of money coming to these people besides $200 here, $200 there, then maybe it would be okay. Maybe if you guys weren't forcing these parents to go back to work in the middle of a pandemic, maybe these parents would not be pushed for their children to go back and risk their lives. Like we're talking about, like, capitalism is literally killing these people to the point where you can't leave your home for fear of coronavirus, but then you can't not leave your home for fear that you're going to lose your housing. And it's like a circle of like death that we all got to go through in order to live in this society. And it's shitty. No one should have to do that. No one should have to reduce their hours because they have to take care of their kid because of coronavirus, but then like not be able to pay their rent. Like, that doesn't make sense. No one should have to do that.
Nothing is going to fundamentally change.
That's what he said.
The numbers are going to go up in the coronavirus. We see it now. They already said with the vaccine, they haven't done enough testing to show that having the vaccine can even stop you from spreading the doggone virus. People over here getting the vaccine, and they over here going with parties with no masks. When I tell you, we're finna be in this thing for the long haul, so you better gear up and get ready, because capitalism will not let you sit. They'd rather 50% of Americans die, which don't make sense in the long run, than to just let folks sit and sit out on a couple months of profits for the sake of humanity. So this is what we got to look forward to. I hope everybody that voted for Joe Biden is happy.
I was going to say, because somebody on Twitter said that you guys were the same people, that the liberals were the same people who were mad at Betsy DeVos for opening up the schools, and then Joe Biden comes out here onto the playing field, signs an executive order, and you guys are cheering him on. Yes!
Or not, saying nothing at all.
We're not saying nothing at all, exactly.
Trying to think we're going to forget, but we ain't. Woo, Lord Jesus. Okay. Before I get riled up on that. And one more thing.
Oh!
Let's talk about class solidarity and how that changes once you get a little bit of power. These people that I talk to that are in leadership positions in the Shelby County School District. Okay, so the superintendent is saying we don't want to open, but there's a lot of people under him that are wanting to open. They even told me that the unions are bad because the unions is what's stopping them from making all the teachers come out and risk their lives. They even said, Well, if the teachers don't want to work in the school building, they can always work online. And I said, what y'all gonna do when half of the teacher force is gone? Well, there's plenty of new teachers that's trying to come into teaching that need a job. So you're preying on the pandemic. You're preying on the fact that folks ain't get jobs. You're preying on the fact that unemployment rates are at an all-time high. That people would have to risk their lives to work. Nobody in the best circumstances want to have to go to work during the pandemic. No matter if they're working at a warehouse, no matter if they're working at a gym, airport, grocery store, nothing. And then the fact that we're not getting hazard pay from that. This just shows you that capitalism, right, it's devoid of any type of humanity. It's devoid of any type of logic, common sense. But they want you to believe that this is the best system when it's the one that's the most deadliest system because we have some of the highest death rates in the world.
We are the highest death rate in the world. It's not that we have some of it. We are the number one coronavirus killer. We are number one. It's not that we are just, skirting by next to China or next to some other gigantic country. No, we are number one, like SpongeBob. Like, we are number one. It's oh, God. It's awful. But, Joe Biden's going to save us all, so.
And one last thing, because there's probably, if they do open up, Joe Biden go ahead and try to do that little opening up. It's going to be a lot of strikes. It's going to be a lot of protests. Rightfully so. I'll be right there with everybody. And so that's definitely something that needs to happen. But I want us to also think about why certain things are in place to prohibit people from, picketing and protesting and striking. One of the things is, the social safety nets are cut off so that a lot of people, if they have to lose their job because they don't want to go into a death box when they go to work, they may not have the social safety net to survive and pay their mortgage and pay everything else. So people, no matter whether it's a school or just a corporation or a job or whatever, these CEOs know that. And that's why they're always lobbying to cut the entitlement programs. Why are these rich people so concerned about folks getting food stamps? Why? Oh, because if you strike and even if I lose my job, I'll still have a little bit of assistance so that I can find another one, more people will be striking. But if there's nothing to fall back on, less people are going to strike because it's your livelihood. So these are things that we need to think about when we talk about even, trying to organize people and trying to do demonstrations and strikes and stuff like that. We have to have an apparatus for people so that, if push comes to shove, they're going to be all right and they'll find that risk. The return on investment of the risk, pretty good. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that's definitely something that we need to take into account. But I'm all for the strikes. I hope we strike. They better not open it up. Joe Biden is a B word. But yeah, definitely. What do you guys think about these schools reopening? What do you think about the way that Joe Biden, in not even a week, is handling this doggone coronavirus thing? Let us know up in the comments. If you have any comments, concerns, hit us up as well. You can hit us up on our social media. Gabbeats at Gabbeats Music, Gabbeats Music, KT at KT_does_art, and Building Our Power at Building Our PWR on all social media platforms. And we're out.